Okay, ladies and gentlemen, although it says quiz on here, don't worry about the word quiz. We finished all but one topic in our Intro to Calc section. There's one more we're going to do tomorrow. It's actually in here, but I'm going to introduce you to the concept of it. And after we're going to switch gears and go over some other topics that we need to know about. And let's just do a quick review of what we know about calculus. I have here defined the following. Limit is a y value you approach as you head towards a certain x value. I hate that definition. I'm sorry. It's the one thing with limits. It's hard to come up with a short version of the definition. But basically, as you head towards a certain x, it's the particular y value you head towards. Next two are much easier definitions. Derivative is slope at a point. A different term for it is rate of change. That's all it is. And integral is area under curve. For all intents and purposes, for you guys right now, derivative is down 1 degree. Meaning if you have a third degree equation, your derivative is a second degree. Integral is up 1 degree. And that's pretty much it for the definitions. So the first thing we went over on in here were limits. So we're going to work on circling the correct answer. Remember, a limit is a value you approach from the left and from the right. You head to the same value. So the limit as x approaches 2. As I come from the... Oh, that's red. That's not going to do us any good. There we go. So we approach... On that. There we go. As we approach from the left, we head to there. As we approach from the right, we head to here. We're both heading to the same spot. We're both heading to a height of 10. So the limit as x approaches 2 is 10. Let's try x approaching 4. As I come from this side, I head to a height of 4 on the graph. As I come from this side, I also head to a height of 4 on the graph. There's nothing there, but I'm heading to the same place. So the limit as x approaches 4, I know the circle's not perfect. Let's go with 20. Okay, it's like 18. I hear you. No more complaining. So we go to the next one. It asks me for f of 4. It wants the value of the graph at 4. Now it's not asking me for a limit. It's asking me for a value. The value of the graph at 4 is this dot right here. So that value is 30. Some people want to say the value does not exist because there's a hole there, but the value is just not connected to the graph. On to the next question. The limit as x approaches 6. Okay, let's erase those. As we approach 6 from the left side, we head to a height of 10. As we approach 6 from the right side, we head to a height of 30. They do not approach the same height. So the limit as x approaches 6, the limit does not exist. And the last is the limit as x approaches 8. So, there we go. Cross this out. As we approach 8 from the left side, our height of our graph heads towards infinity. As we approach 8 from the right side, the height of the graph approaches infinity. I'm going to look down at my answers. And, I don't have an infinity. If I had an infinity, if I had a choice E that said infinity, I could circle it, and it would be right. But technically, as you can't reach infinity, so you don't have a limit. There's no limit to the height you can go. So the limit does not exist. So that was our intro into limits. And then we did some with just numbers. If you have a number and you put it in and you get an answer, you've got your limit. You're done. I'm going to put 1 into here. I get 1 cubed is 1. Plus 2, plus 4, 6, 7. 7 is my limit. If I get a number, I've got a limit. So let's take a look at the next one. There's a quotient. We're going to put in 5. That's 17 plus 25. Over 5 minus 5, which is 0. Okay? The limit for this does not exist. Or you could say it's infinity. It's not that there's a 0 on the bottom. There's no value at that graph, but you can think of whenever you have some constant over 0, the limit is infinity or does not exist. And the third type of limit problem we dealt with was this one right here. If we put in -1, we'll get -1 minus 4 minus 3 plus, -1. Who said that? It's -1 plus 4. Filled in right. And I get -1 plus 1 on the bottom. And if I work those things out, I end up with 0 over 0 on the top, which is not the same as the problem before. This is indeterminate. And indeterminates mean we had to factor out the bottom from the top to be able to find the answer. So we did it this way. We put -1 in here. 1, -4, -3, 2. And then we did synthetic substitution. I got 1, -1 is -5, is 5, 2, -2 is gone. So the limit as x approaches -1 is the same as the limit as x approaches -1 of x squared minus 5x plus 2. That's -1. Let's fix that. And I would fill that on in. And I would get -1. It's +1 because I squared it. Plus 5 plus 2. 5, 6, 7, which would equal 8. We did this the long way when we learned about it. Well, I'm going to let you know. We computed out the indeterminate form. And we did this long thing, but starting next year, you're not going to have to repeat this again. What we just did with the synthetic substitution, we're never have to do again, because we have a special rule we're going to use called L'Hopital's rule, in which instead, and you don't have to memorize this for now, I'm just going to write this on down, so you see it. I erased everything that's there, so you can squeeze it in somewhere. That if a function is indeterminate, we no longer have to do synthetic substitution. We can take the limit of the top, we take the derivative of the top and divide it by the derivative of the bottom. Couldn't use that tool before because you didn't have it in the past. So the limit for the top is going to be 3x squared minus 8x minus 3 over 1. And if I substitute in my -1 right now, I get 3 plus 8 minus 3 equals 8. So I end up getting the correct answer on that. You can put a star on this. It's nothing you need to remember now. We're going to visit it next year as we work on more problems. Okay, the next question down says estimate the instantaneous slope of f of x equals x cubed plus x squared plus 2 at x equals 1 by taking the average slope over a small interval. So we were estimating instantaneous slope by taking the average slope. Average slope is fib phi ba, and we would put in numbers like we do 1.01 minus 1, f of 1.01 minus 1, wrong 1, minus f of 1, and then I'll put that in my calculator. Hold on. Okay, I had a little glitch I had to fix. No problem though. Folks, don't worry. Just go back a page. Bring my calculator back up. You may have seen it jump for a second there, but what I did before is I put in my calculator, I added a graph page, and I graphed that function, the original one in there, x third plus x squared plus 2, and I'll just do it again. I came over to here, I made a fraction, I used the var button to get f1 of 1.01, close parentheses, minus var f1 of 1 over 1.01 minus 1. And that was my average slope, which I wrote down because I used 2 points. And we did that in the past because we didn't know about derivatives. Now we have derivatives. We find the instantaneous slope really quick by just taking the function, taking its derivative, and then putting the 1 in, after the problem. Okay, on the next page, I have some select functions we're going to do. Okay, the derivative, let's do the easiest one first. Derivative of x to the 10th is 10x to the 9th, which is right there in choice C. Derivative of x to the negative 100 is negative 100x, and I have to go down 1 unit to the negative 101. It's not to the negative 99, so that one is choice I. And you're not going to do the ones that we're not filling in now. You'll see why. The third one we're going to look at is one where the variable is on the bottom, which is right here. I'm going to rewrite that before I take its derivative. That's 2x to the negative 8th. So the derivative of that is going to be negative 16x down 1 unit to the negative 9th. There it is at choice E. Pi is just a constant. The derivative of any constant is 0. Doesn't matter what the constant is. We have that. We have a 0 there. 0. Oh, there it is, A. Choice A. And the last one here is 100x to the 3rd. Derivative is going to be 100. X to the 99th. And the constant goes away. And that, for right now, is choice G. Oops, I made a mistake, didn't I? Yeah, I fell for it too. E is not correct on this problem right here, because I need negative 16x to the negative 9th. And this is not to the negative 9th. If it's negative 9th on the top, it could be positive 9th on the bottom. Correct answer was H. Got myself. But I figured it out, so it's not $1. Okay, on to the next part here. For all points specified, state the slope is positive, negative, 0, or does not exist. And we're just going to draw tangent lines at each of those spots. Tangent, 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 tangent. Uh-oh, there's a cusp. I can't draw a tangent because there's not just one tangent. There's a bunch of them. At cusps, there is no derivative. So at D, it's the slope does not exist. A is positive, B is negative, C is 0, E is positive, and F could either be infinite or does not exist. Either will be accepted. Okay, so number 7 is what we're going to talk about in class next time. I want to draw a function. I wanted a tangent line. I'm going to, in order to find a tangent line, I need a point that's on the tangent line. And I need to know the slope of that line. Okay. In the past, you probably used the equation for a tangent line. You'd have done this in Algebra 2. Mx minus x1 plus y1. I sometimes say it in Mixie. We are going to use a different formula, a different equation next time in class. I'll explain it to you when we work on it. There, that's all you need on question 7. And this says estimate the area under the curve between 1 and 8. Well, let's go to here and 8. Estimate, we're going to count boxes. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. This looks like 36. This looks like 37 and a half. That's a good estimate for me. So there's 37.5 boxes, but I got to count the area of each box. Each box is 1 wide and 10 tall, so each box is worth 10 equals 375 units. The thing we did with integrals was estimate the area of the curve. We can either count boxes or we can do it using trapezoids. So this one says estimate the area under the curve, and I'm going to put this into the calculator. What I've done is I put the function into the calculator, and I'm going to pull up the table, Control-T, and I'm going to write down the values for each of these points in this, on the page here. The values for this function out of my calculator, and I'm thinking of having 5 trapezoids between them. This picture's not to scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're just going to work out the equation for each individual trapezoid, which is 1/2 base times the sum of the heights. So the first trapezoid is 1/2 1 of 3 plus 9. And the second one is 1/2 1 9 plus 43. And magically watch all the other ones appear. So there they are all added together. You can put them in your calculator to get a number. I don't need you to for now, as long as you fill that on out. Okay? Have a good day.